Right, good morning everybody. It's 10 o'clock and the hearings are resumed. This is the final day of the hearings in relation to the examination of the Harrow local plan. The usual reminders, please, all mobile phones should be turned off or switched to silent. And again, I'm not aware that there are any fire evacuation or fire drills planned. So if you do hear one, it is a real one and you should depart through the doors behind you. So this morning we're going to be looking at matter 9, transport and movement, and then on to matter 10, monitoring and delivery of the plan. Then we will look for the council to set out any action points arising from the hearings to date, which I shall go through with them, and then next steps, and then the hearings will be closed. So for this morning's session, if the council could introduce, please, in the first instance, who will be speaking in relation to the matter 9 issues, transport and movement, please.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Morning. Ma'am, so from the council side, potentially myself, Saira Kabir Sheikh, King's Counsel, barrister on behalf of Harrow. To my left, Mr. Viv Evans, who is the Chief Planning Officer. To his left is David Hughes, Head of Planning Policy. And to his left is Gavin Ball, who is a Principal Planning Policy Officer. So those are the officers dealing with the first issue.
Yeah.
And I won't deal with monitoring right now.
Okay, fine. Thank you. And then for participants, please, could you just introduce yourselves? Just a reminder, it's the right-hand button, so try not to move the base unit. It's just to press the right-hand button, which will light up red. If you want to be brought into the discussion, lift your nameplate onto its side, and I will do so at an appropriate time. But could you just introduce yourselves to the hearing in the first instance, please?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Monica Jen from Transport for London.
Thank you.
And Josephine Voss from Transport for London.
Thank you. Okay, I'm assuming no housekeeping matters from the council because
We're going to mop up later. No,
okay,
ma'am, thank
fine.
you.
So first of all then, again, following the same format as I have done for the previous sessions, so the agenda as issued and the MIQ responses from the council and those from Regulation 19 representors as well in terms of statements. So in the first instance policy SP 10, which is it's entitled movement. So just give me the context for this strategic policy, please.
It's going to be Mr. Ball, I think.
Thank you, ma'am. So, the strategic policy for movement covers the council's strategic approach to planning for transport. So it starts out with a vision, and then it sets out how that vision will be achieved through provisions A through G, focusing on improving the public transport network through new development, improving the connectivity and accessibility to public transport through new development, improving access to public transport, supporting the Mayor's the Healthy Streets approach and the transport strategy, and then encouraging walking and cycling, supporting a reduction in car vehicle emissions through reduction of car trips and also movement to less carbon intensive forms of movement in terms of electric vehicles, in particular in Part G.
And at 15.1.1, I asked a specific question regarding the objective there that's identified in terms of public and active travel networks will be enhanced to become more attractive and a more attractive alternative to private vehicles, in terms of which policies you say are going to achieve that objective. And you say in response it's SP10, M1, M2 and M3, is that right?
Yes, I might, if I had my time again, suggest M3 doesn't really
Yeah.
do that.
Okay, so it's M1 and M2 then?
Correct.
Right.
Well, I would have some things to say about M1 as well, if I could, because having reflected on the policy over the weekend and also in relation to our previous sessions about the linkages between strategic policies and the policies that implement them,
Yeah.
M1 has a very significant focus on cycling and not very much focus on anything else.
No.
So if that is it is the detailed policy that is seeking to give action to the strategic policy. So in order to make the plan effective, I would suggest there is probably content partly in strategic policy 10 itself that is giving action as well as setting out the strategic objectives. But for sure there is repetition in A throughout about cycling with regards improving parking.
M1A.
M1A, yes.
Yeah.
And there is reference to pedestrian improvement through the Healthy Streets approach,
Yeah.
but that could be improved and strengthened. And there is nothing current about improving access to quality of public transport in that policy, which, if this is about sustainable transport, then that needs to be given effect to in the detailed policy here as well.
Okay.
So that's what I would suggest we should do to make M1 deliver the strategic policy's ambitions appropriately.
Okay, thank you for that. We'll come on to M1 then in terms of the specific wording, because potentially then if you feel there's an over-emphasis on cycling, then perhaps some of these criteria could be replaced in relation to public transport, because I do agree that that potentially isn't covered in a positive way in terms of that policy. Just so we complete on strategic policy 10 then, so 15.2, is it positively prepared and effective with particular reference to parts A, B and E, and is it clear how a decision maker should react?
Yes, I've got some, again, reflecting the things that we've been talking about the last few weeks. There are some terms in here that we have been changing throughout these sessions. So, A, must facilitate, should seek to facilitate.
Yeah.
In the terms, the term facilitate improvements to transport infrastructure through active travel doesn't make sense, and we should make that clear. I think it's clear what we want. We want improvements to transport infrastructure, and we want improvements that enable better and more active travel to happen. And that sentence doesn't make sense as drafted at the moment. The planning obligations hook will be more appropriate in the detailed policy.
And so remind me where you have that in the supporting text at the moment. Do you have that in the supporting text at the moment? We're still on SB 10, yeah?
Yeah. I can't see it, to be honest.
Sorry, I should also, just the usual reminder about any modifications as well in terms of when we're discussing this. So I agree that Part A should be amended to be more positively prepared. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes.
Yeah.
And flexible, frankly. Part B.
Yeah.
Effective use of land. I mean, we've already covered that in the growth chapter, so that's unnecessary repetition.
Yeah.
Parts of it are potentially repetitive of A, and also M1. So it's about being clear as to which bits are staying in here and which bits are going into M1 when we get there.
Okay.
And I'm not sure that the term London's transport networks and supporting infrastructure is terribly clear. London's transport network includes everything.
Yeah, everything, yeah.
So maybe the words and supporting infrastructure is not necessary in that, in provision B. Presumably all other supporting infrastructure is community infrastructure and covered in the community infrastructure policy.
Yes, yeah. Okay.
On E, I've got, the council will seek to encourage and enable people to choose active transport. The council will deliver development that supports people having a choice of transport that includes walking, cycling, public transport. Would be more positive in terms of the types of development this plan's going to manage in the future.
Yeah.
I think that improvements to road safety is a separate point to providing opportunities to walk and cycle.
So you're suggesting that's a separate subsection,
I think you could make that a new F and move everything down
Yeah.
one. That's all I had on that.
I think if you just had on its own, improvements to road safety will be made in line with the Mayor's Vision Zero objective, that's too vague in terms of what the policy is actually defining. So I think that if you are suggesting that that is in a separate section on its own, it needs to be reworded to be more effective. But I agree with everything else that you've said in terms of the suggested changes to that policy. Is there anything in the modifications that we need to look at for SP? Because I want the council to lead in terms of statements of common ground, mods, what might have changed. So I'm clear on the council's position.
Sorry, we have made modifications to the policy after discussions with Transport for London.
Yeah.
So strategic policy 10, we added reference to day and nighttime travel in terms of encouraging people to use active transport. So that was just to recognise that both day and nighttime travel trips are important.
And sorry, which is that part A?
So that's in part E.
E.
Yes. So that we introduce for day and nighttime travel before by improving on the second line of E.
Yeah.
And we've amended paragraph 10.0.2 to include clarification about what active travel is.
Okay. Okay. Following that, and that's all clear. So does anybody have any additional comments on strategic policy 10 before we move on then? No, okay. So on to M1, sustainable transport then. This is the map that you provided, isn't it? The appendix.
Yes?
Yeah.
That's correct.
So you're going to have to talk through this because it's not terribly well annotated. So this is showing existing and proposed walking, cycling, public transport improvements. This is everything that the council envisages is to be delivered during this plan period, is that right? Or is this talking about existing or?
Sorry, can you just direct me to the question again so I can...
Sorry,
in the right
it's
place?
15.6, policy M1. It's on page 4 of your responses.
So,
So this is a reference to part B and of the policy and paragraph 10.1.4.
yeah, so my understanding is that the projects at 10.1.4 are the projects that we can map. The rest of them are ongoing works projects. So we have envisaged to set out on a map where the projects are, so they go through in order.
Yeah, so these are all existing projects that the council's committed to. So there's nothing in here that's totally brand new as a result of the plan.
So we've referenced the ongoing update to the transport strategy and that we will keep the IDP updated as and when things come forward.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've got anything that's not included that we know about.
Right, so talk me through then what these projects are. So Harrow to Pinner, well, go through them as in as they appear on here. So it's page numbered. So page 2 is just showing all of them in their entirety, is it? It just says strategic active travel projects.
Oh, yes, ma'am. So page 2 essentially shows the projects that are being progressed at the moment.
Yeah.
And then the detail is set out in the subsequent pages. But this is essentially a snapshot at this point in time in terms of the projects that the council is looking to progress, relating to matters such as strategic transport links or cycling links, sorry, and then also works in relation to school streets as well. So this is essentially the projects identified at this point in time. The long-term transport strategy for the council has recently been adopted. So there's actually further work going on now that is essentially pulling together the sort of pipeline of projects that will support the plan into a single consolidated location, which would then be incorporated into the infrastructure delivery plan and also sort of support any sort of funding bids as such. So this is essentially the projects as they stand at the moment.
Yeah.
Some of them are certainly listed at 10.1.4 of the plan, so the sorts of projects that have been sort of progressed. But again, the projects will sort of evolve over time.
But But in terms of your site allocations, the level of growth that's proposed, and the infrastructure that that requires, we need to understand that now, don't we, in terms of the local plan? So, for example, on the Harrow to Pinner cycle route, is that the only cycle route that's being upgraded in the borough?
It is the first of what we'd envisage to be many, but those haven't been specifically identified yet. So that's literally just the first project that is being progressed at this point in time.
Yeah, so in terms of the local plan, then yes, that's it, is it?
Specifically at this point in time, yes.
Yeah. So are there in terms of the site allocations we've considered, are there any of those site allocations that would benefit from wording specific to that cycle route in terms of their locality?
Specifically in terms of that particular cycle route, no.
No, okay.
No.
So you're not envisaging that any are going to be linked to that. Okay, so that's all of the that's all of them on one map, and then page 3 of 11 is the proposed Harrow on the Hill station to Pinner. That's is that the same route? Yeah. The same route, okay. Looks slightly different, doesn't it?
I think it's just literally the scale, but in terms of the actual route, that is the same. Just
It's the
scrolls down.
same, okay. So what stage has that cycle route reached now then?
It has been through consultation. I believe there's some reconsultation on it.
So no time frame for its delivery as yet?
No, no.
No time. And then page 4, it says existing school street 1, rooms like primary school. So explain what a school street is.
Essentially, ma'am, it's in relation to promoting pedestrian cycle connections to local schools, so as to promote.
Sorry, to say managing local pedestrian.
Promoting and
Promoting.
promoting and making improvements to the pedestrian cycle sort of area, provision in key streets around schools in order to promote walking and cycling to schools rather than accessing those schools via private vehicle.
By and large, the main thing is you temporarily close off the streets during drop off and pick up times for the school, so that
Right.
vehicle movements don't come into conflict with kiddies being delivered.
Sorry, is that a mayor initiative or is that just a Harrow initiative?
It's definitely bigger than Harrow. Yeah.
And do you have any operating at the moment, or all these new to come forward?
Ma'am, we'd have to get back to you on that one. I'm not aware of the situation. in terms of existing ones.
Okay, so that's the. Sorry, what is the spell? The school spelled differently. Is it Grimm's Dyke or is it Gims Dyke? Grimm's. Okay. And then the next page is page 5, Newton Farm Nursery. So there's 2 there, I'm assuming, because there's 2 different accesses to the school. Okay, so these are all proposed ones, and then
Yeah, sorry, ma'am, just in relation to that. So the first 3 are actually existing,
they're existing.
and then the rest, the current set of proposed ones, and essentially the plan reflects the fact that we're looking to expand the School Streets program to approximately 18 areas.
Okay,
Across the
so
borough.
those are, yeah, sorry, so Earlsmead. And how do they, what's the feedback in terms of how these things operate then?
I have no specific feedback on that, but it certainly is something which the council is looking to expand on the existing provision. So that sort of sets the direction of travel in terms of rolling them out further.
Okay, and
So-
then,
I certainly know I've got school streets in Haringey near where I live. So this is a pan-London intervention. TfL may well be able to give feedback in terms of how they're being delivered and how feedback has come on them so far. 'Cause you are temporarily closing off roads. It's the main intervention, so it will have some implication, but it will also have some benefits.
okay, and then Harrow on the Hill Station Cycle Hub, what's that? Page 10.
It's essentially a dedicated, enclosed, secure cycle facility that people can sort of put their cycles in and store them, having travelled to the station by bike. So again, it really addresses the issues in terms of safety and security of cycles, and facilitating storage of cycles whilst people commute into town or that
It's
sort of
just
thing.
cycle parking.
It's a little bit more than that. It's fancy. It has actually recently been completed, so that has been delivered.
Okay.
And that's kind of like the Harrow on the Hill end of the Pinner to
Pinner.
Harrow on the Hill cycle way. So essentially, this is the infrastructure at the station end, and that's been provided.
Yeah,
And then on page 3, where we're talking about the actual cycle route,
yeah.
the cycle route facilitates journeys to the station, and this is where people can store their cycle in more secure, water, weatherproof.
So
sort
that's
of
already
enclosure.
done.
Yeah, that was literally being completed in the past month or 2.
Okay, and then the final thing on here, Harrow View, Headstone Drive, Headstone Gardens Junction, Goodwill to All Junction. What does that mean?
So, ma'am, so that is essentially improvements to that particular junction. So this is the junction that helps serve the Kodak site. So let's get a reference for you there. But essentially the largest sort of strategic sort of site allocation in the borough. So OA16 and OA17. So these are essentially improvements to the to that junction to facilitate sort of pedestrian and cycle crossings in that sort of busy junction in particular, but also to address any sort of transport private vehicle impacts arising from the site allocation as well. So this one does sort of support the
Okay, so
allocation.
should that be specifically referenced in relation to both of those site allocations then? Yeah. could you make a note to do that?
Yeah, if they're not, there should be.
Yeah. So I think there's generic wording. I don't think there's something specific to the actual works that you're talking about. Right, so no proposed walking or public transport improvements then? That I know that you're saying, well, things may come forward, but in terms of where we are today and the local plan as prepared, there isn't anything that you're aware of in terms of proposed walking and public transport improvements. Well, we've got the step-free access, haven't we, to one of the stations?
Yeah, at the moment, Mayor, that's essentially, the list is covered in 10.1.4 of the plan at the moment. But certainly in terms of the IDP, that would continue to identify proposals as they come forward to support the sort of overall incremental growth within the, or arising from the site allocations.
Okay, so we'll move on to the specific wording of policy M1 then. I've raised a question about the reference to delivery of sustainable neighbourhoods and whether that was clear in terms of people understanding how they should respond to this policy. And I've read your response. I'm wondering whether, because you define inclusive neighbourhoods within your plan, whether that would be preferable. Because having looked at the definition, that does seem to encompass everything that you're looking to achieve there.
Agreed.
Okay. So actually, it might be helpful, Mr. Ball, if you go through these as to which you think are duplicating in terms of the cycle emphasis, and then we can look at, if you've already given some thought to that, it might help things.
Yeah, I'll go through them now. So A, in effect, seeks to improve cycle and pedestrian connections.
Yeah.
And then it has a slightly unclear list. I think that could be tightened up in terms of what amenities means, what local destinations means. So we could be clearer in terms of the types of destinations that we're seeking to improve pedestrian and cycling access to.
Yeah.
The Healthy Streets approach, I think that's not specifically about cycling, that's about walking and cycling in public realm.
Yeah.
So I would almost take that out and make that a separate provision. Or perhaps even just leave it in SP10 where that's already been covered in SP10. In D,
Yes, yeah, agreed, yeah, okay.
so I don't think we need to reference it twice.
No.
But in terms of prioritising safe and convenient access routes, that could certainly be merged into enhancement of cycle and pedestrian connections. Because what is an enhancement to a cycling and pedestrian connection if it's not a safe and convenient access route?
Yeah,
So there's a issue that you can capture all of with improve the quality and network of the cycling and pedestrian connections. You can get it all done in one
yeah,
fell swoop. Protect and enhance any publicly accessible cycle and pedestrian routes that cross development sites. That provision is actually quite clear, I think, because if a site comes forward and there's a cycle route across it, for example,
yes,
this provision says protect it and enhance it, which I think we all want to do.
yeah,
D, support the delivery of strategic or local cycle networks. I think that might be repetitious of A, or could at least be folded into A.
yeah,
And then cycle parking, that's fine, but should it be in policy M2E? Sorry, it's not M2E. Should it be in M2?
yes, I would suggest it should.
And then F is also about cycle parking, so that's probably both repetitive of M2 and M3.
Yeah, so amalgamate those and move it to M2 then.
Yeah. MG, dockless cycle parking, probably also parking. Although there is a point there about the hire schemes, which do offer an opportunity to secure mode shift. So it's possible you could keep a provision about supporting cycle hire. I think that's possibly just a slight wording, so it's less about parking and more about the supporting a cycle hire intervention.
Yeah, and I would also suggest that the wording where required is amended to where necessary, and that comes at the start of the criteria.
Yeah. And then the accessible facilities,
What's that in relation to?
having a shower ready when you arrive at work or at a commuter hub. So a gold standard cycle hub would have showers in it.
Yeah,
And, you know, good quality at work cycle infrastructure equates to having showers next to your cycle parking at work designed into new schemes. So, I mean, whether this is a design policy or a travel policy is up for debate, but I think the principle is sound.
I think we're then coming back to this point I've raised about these criteria being applicable to all scales of development, or is that something that the council would anticipate is applicable to major development?
I mean, it's more likely to be delivered in a major development. Would we ever require it in a minor scheme?
Yeah.
I mean, my experience of these kind of facilities is they're normally provided where there's a modal change. So where we put them in elsewhere in London where there are station facilities, so cycle routes that end at stations normally have the need for a cycle hub.
Yeah,
These are all, as Gavin has explained, these are the essential facilities really for a cycle hub, and where there's a modal change. And they also tend to include things like bike repair facilities. So
Yeah.
if someone has a problem when they get off the train with their bike, they can get it repaired quickly. So it's that kind of place where you change from one mode of transport to another, and you park your bike for a period of time. So they tend to be a major interchanges of modal shift, basically. And usually bus stations would be another one, bus stations and train stations. So the Pinner one, for example, which is going in or has recently gone in, would expect to have these facilities in it.
Yeah, but as the policy reads at the moment, it's saying that development should, as in all developments, should provide that, which isn't, I don't think, what you're saying.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that, as Gavin set out at the start, I think, is that M1A is too cycle focused as a
Yeah.
whole. So it needs to be reworded as suggested by him
Right.
regarding cycling, but then it needs to be expanded regarding other modes of transport, and including public transport.
Okay, so could you revisit H then in terms of amending that wording so it's specific to the scenarios that you've envisaged rather than to all development?
Yeah, it really is specific to cycling. You wouldn't expect one of these to go to bus.
No. Well, I'm thinking the way I'm reading it in a scheme of 5 units, you're anticipating that, and that's just, no. Okay. So you're going to revisit that, and then Ms. Young.
On the H, I think it would be mostly in places where there is a lot of cycle parking, so offices, or if there are minor developments of 9 units that are kind of combining their cycle parking facilities,
Yeah.
then that would be required. So it's not necessarily in interchanges, but wherever there is a proportionate amount of cycle parking, and as you suggested in G, like where necessary, maybe having something like that, which then can be decided on the scale of the development. So,
Yeah.
as we have suggested in our response, that not applying this to both minor and major, but the amount of facilities that are needed would depend on the scale of the development.
Yeah, but if you're relating it to the scale, then that would have to be set out within the supporting text so somebody is clear as to how they're responding.
And just to say, paragraph 10.5.7 in the London plan talks about supporting facilities for staff cycle parking. I can read out the paragraph if that would be helpful.
The staff cycle parking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this would not be applicable to residential. I mean, yeah, of course, because they'll have their own bathrooms and stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's the trouble with the wording at the moment. It's not clear. Well, if it, yeah, I'm just wondering then if. Just remind myself of the policy that you had on. There was a design policy where you just cross-referenced the London plan policies, wasn't there? Is it GR1?
think it might be GR2.
GR2.
So the inclusive neighbourhoods, which makes reference to permeability and usability for walking and cycling, and then cross refers to.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was the point. Yeah, how they contribute to. Can I leave that one with the council to have a think about in terms of if you're the specific wording which would be necessary in terms of what you were trying to achieve with Part H, but I would suggest it isn't applicable to all developments, and you tighten up the wording in terms of to make it more effective in terms of the schemes that you are envisaging it would be applicable to. And then on Part B, large Part B, is it not just impacts on the transport network rather than negative impacts?
Yes.
Yeah. Right, so that's part, it's Part B. And then what about changes that you've discussed with TfL and your statements of common ground and your schedule? Well, sorry, probably before we do that. So are there any additional criteria that you're saying should be in this policy then in relation to the public transport and walking?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think we need to add provisions with regards improvement to the public transport network in terms of improvements to the facilities themselves, improvement in access to them, supporting their better operation in terms of bus infrastructure in particular. And we also need to build on how the the Healthy Streets approach will be delivered in terms of pedestrian-focused public realm, reflecting the updated transport hierarchy from a few years back that pedestrians are now at the top of. So really prioritising their trips first.
Okay. You can draft something up on that, but that'll be subject to what I think in terms of what you've drafted.
Of course.
On both of those without seeing them here today.
On M1, there are no modifications proposed.
No.
Coming out of the Statement of Common Ground or
Yeah. Okay.
COVID-19.
Thank you. And then just explain to me which part of the policy 10.1.6 to 10.1.7 is is explaining.
It's Part B.
Isn't that under transport assessments and state and travel plans?
It's about measuring the impact, and the mechanism for doing that is transport assessments and travel plan. Or travel plan to address the impact identified in the transport assessments. And then 10.1.6 and 10.1.7 talks about the types of impacts there may be based on the types of schemes that there may be, or the things that flow out of those schemes. So it's basically setting up the transport assessment, the next bit's the
Okay.
transport assessment, and then move on to the travel plan, which provides the mitigations.
Yeah. Okay, 10.1.16 in terms of monitoring obligations, that potentially needs to be within the policy rather than supporting text.
Yep.
Yeah.
Noted.
Okay, and then M2 parking. Oh, sorry, no, this is just, let's just go back to M1. There is something within your MIQs that you're suggesting as a modification at 15.9.2.
Sorry, yeah, that's subsequent to the mods that were sent through with the submission documentation. This is about the statement of common ground that we've been pursuing with Transport for London. So, for clarification of wording on 10.0.5, about what Mr. Hughes was talking about earlier, that as more transport strategies are developed, the IDP will remain a live document to incorporate them as best we can and ensure that we're able to react to them through things like SIL and the infrastructure funding strategy.
Okay, noted that. Then on to M2 parking. So the Reg 19 plan generated a lot of responses in relation to a CPZ. Is that right?
Correct. The consultations were on at the same time. The issues got conflated and we got a lot of responses which we passed back over to our highways team to, once we realised they were not germane to any of the policies of the plan. I think we included them in our consultation statement for fullness because they were duly made reps.
Yeah.
But they were talking about a CPZ extension. So there's no impact in terms of the policies of the plan.
So M2 parking, I've revisited this in terms of the statement of common ground and the representations made and what we've discussed in relation to the site allocations. From what you've said in terms of the this two-tiered approach to assessing car parking in terms of some of the allocations and then other allocations saying it will be in accordance with land and plan standards. As I'm reading this, part H of this policy would encompass what you would want to cross-reference, wouldn't it?
That has, in our modifications, been moved into B. So we have you've asked for a typed out version
Oh yeah, you have.
of what M2 would be. We have enough for everybody if everyone wants to read it.
So, Mum, that picks up all the points in the
Yeah.
Statement of Common Ground, the mods, so you'll have that
Great.
clean version, well, tracked version, but it'll be better, I think, to work from that.
My glamorous assistant and boss will dole them out.
Thank you.
So I think, well, I hope that this addresses the issue you were having with
Yeah.
there being changes post-submission following the Statement of Common Ground we've been working on with TfL. The end position of our Statement of Common Ground, duty to cooperate discussions, is that we've agreed some things, but we haven't agreed everything.
Yeah.
So red, agreed. Purple, agreed post-submission. And then blue, not agreed yet. So
Okay, that's really clear.
and that's
Thank you.
the argument that we're making about there being particular sites and centres in Harrow where we're allocating sites with large existing car parks,
Yes.
and we feel that there is a need to manage the future amount of parking on those types of sites rather than default straight to the London Plan number.
Yeah. Have you shared this with TfL before today?
There's nothing new in this. It's all from the Statements of Common Ground.
Okay.
It's just been rationalised
Yeah.
into the policy, but it is TfL's position there, I think, isn't it?
So yeah, the Statement of Common Ground with TfL clearly has what we do agree, what we don't agree set out. You know, we've worked quite hard to try and get somewhere in regards to this. I think we are coming at it from slightly different angles in terms of what we're seeking to achieve in terms of these sites. All I would say from our side is we have reduced references to parking standards that are not specifically in line with the London Plan. On
Yeah.
all new development, we expect London Plan parking standards to apply to the new development. The only thing that we are now pursuing is where there's a risk of loss of important functional parking on assets that have a wider than local catchment, that we manage down that amount of parking. And we think about that at the planning application stage. So we have moved towards each other, but we haven't quite
Yeah.
managed to land on the same spot.
So I think I understand your position, but do you want to present anything in terms to the examination in terms of the wording that the council is suggesting and why you don't agree with that?
Yes, thank you. I'd just like to make 3 points. The first being that I think there's a bit of a misunderstanding that the London Plan parking standards are too ambitious for Outer London, when in reality they have been developed to take account of the very wide variety of places that exist in London, from the kind of very edge of the urban space right to the centre. And so they have been designed to take that into account, and they do allow for a lot of fluctuation in the amount of parking that's allowed. What's really important for us as Transport for London is that the London Plan parking standards underpin the strategic modelling that shows that London can accommodate the growth set out in the London Plan. And so when there's deviation from that, it does risk our ability to manage the road network adequately with the growth set out in the London plan. That's the first point to make. In terms of the detail of what's written in the two blue bits on this paper is, one, we do not accept that vibrancy and vitality are supported by car parking. We have lots of evidence to show that people who arrive by car spend less and visit town centres less frequently. So we would suggest that actually creating places where people want to dwell and access by sustainable modes actually does improve the vitality of town centres. The third point I was going to make was, sorry. Yeah, I think the text on page 4 here in 10.2.9 is implying that park and ride is a kind of sustainable and acceptable concept for multimodal travel in London, and we would dispute that because of the very congested nature of our road network. We do not support in policy terms anywhere at the strategic level park and ride as something that we would endorse, and in fact we're going the opposite direction and removing car parks from stations across London.
Yeah, okay. Would the council like to respond on any of those points?
I mean, I think we do think that vibrancy and vitality is a big issue with regards providing a choice of modes to get into our town centres in a Harrow context. Not everyone has access to the public transport to get to the town centre in all locations within Harrow, and it's a metropolitan centre with a big catchment, and we need to try and support choice. We're absolutely, in terms of your parking standards and the need to manage the network, we are agreeing with you that the starting point is the London Plan's parking standards, and only on these exception sites, subject to the modelling that would need to take place in front of a planning application, would we be seeking a deviance. The park and ride, as per the town centre point, some people will have a particular choice of train station that they need to use to get to their job. If there isn't parking at the station, that will create differences to trips, some of which, that there may be some people that will shift to an electric bike, for example. There are some people, though, that won't make the trip, and there are some people that will choose to drive across London, which would have adverse effects. So there are impacts both sides on that. Is all I would suggest in terms of the train station sites that we have.
Okay, thank you for that. So can you add this to the examination library if it's not already being done? Thank you. I'll take what I've got. I understand the council's perspective, I understand TfL's viewpoint, and I shall come to review on that in terms of that amended text. So that's M2 on parking. And then the final policy within this section is M3. I don't know if anybody has, I think there was one modification, wasn't there, in relation to this policy?
I've got two modifications. So again, after reviewing TfL's rep, including reference to cargo bikes and zero emission vehicles for last mile deliveries, was added to the end of paragraph A. And
yeah.
The term including micro consolidation hubs was introduced into paragraph 10.3.5.
Okay, noted both of those. Okay, thank you. Any other comments in relation to transport and movement? From anybody?
Just wanted to summarize our position. There was one comment where we made 10.2.2, was it? that should be included in the policy. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where. I think you had a question about 15.11, should the text at paragraph 10.2.2 be incorporated within the policy for effectiveness?
Yeah.
Council has replied no, and we were suggesting to include it, but I think there is a simpler solution to that if we remove maximum from part A of the policy. Let's see.
Yeah.
So, part A, subpart A, if you remove the maximum from the London Plan standards, then that would, because it's not a target. So if you remove that, then we are agreeing with council's position that 10.2.2 can remain outside the policy.
Yeah, so in policy M2AA, the word maximum is unnecessary. So we could certainly get rid of that.
So just with the London Plan standards.
Great.
Okay, anything else in terms of transport and movement you'd like to raise?
And I think there is reference to fossil fuel cars. We would like the reference of fossil fuels to be removed because cars, whether fossil fuel or electric, have similar kind of impacts in terms of congestion, road danger.
Is that within the policy wording?
Let's see.
I think that's an objective on page 23, perhaps, from memory. Sorry, not page 23.
Sorry.
Oh, no, wait a minute. It could be in the plan at page 23. Yeah, so the transport
Oh, yeah.
objective. I think this is a tricky one. I completely get the point that cars have impacts beyond the engines that are in internal combustion engine cars. The policies that flow from the plan's objectives do have reference to EV charging parking spaces. So there is a part of the plan is addressing reduction in fossil car use, as well as the policies that are also reducing absolute number of car trips as well. So I don't per se have a problem with fossil fuel car use being referenced in the objective, because it is both, isn't it?
I guess as long as we are aligned in terms of objectives of first reducing the car trips, and
Yeah.
then whatever car trips remain are electric vehicle cars. And I think London Plan supports that and provides for active as well as passive EV charging facilities.
Yeah,
So I think referencing fossil fuel cars could mean that you are encouraging people to take up EV rather than taking up modal shift.
Aren't we? Yeah, so, I mean, we are reducing overall car usage and we are providing developments that would support people to make the choice to go to EV instead of petrol.
So I think what TfL is suggesting, it just says the council will facilitate modal shift away from car use. Is that what you're suggesting?
I thought the first sentence in that,
Yes.
that's what addresses the modal shift. The second sentence is addressing the move from fossil fuel. So sustainable transport infrastructure will be delivered to ensure there are healthy and safe alternatives to private vehicles.
Yeah.
That's all private vehicles. The second part is addressing the secondary issue, which we feel is still a valid one.
In terms of, okay. Would you like to add anything further on that?
Clarifying 2 points. So I think council is agreeing to put in planning obligations some of the transport interventions or mitigations that would be needed. And in terms of the map, which is Appendix A right now, but that would be updated as and when the transport interventions are coming in. We feel right now the map is not ambitious enough that looks forward to the 15 years of.
No, yeah. Well, I think I've
So-
already made that point, that the plan is very light in terms of public transport initiatives in any event. But that plan was just for me in terms of understanding what the policy was referencing. It's not going to be appended to the plan in any way.
But it will be part of the IDP, the infrastructure delivery plan, which supports the local plan delivery. So we can work with council on that in terms of working out the map together that addresses some of the policy and planning obligations that would be incorporated.
Yes, you can do that, yeah.
Yeah, ma'am, just to reiterate, yes, certainly the intention is that a more comprehensive and clearer sort of map would form part of the IDP. That's sort of picked up in the Statement of Common Ground in terms of, yes, certainly actually mapping out all the initiatives, and that would be sort of updated as they're sort of identified and progressed through the IDP. And that would also then help in terms of the actual application of policy, in terms of negotiating on particular schemes, where there might be safeguarding, where there may be provision need to be made to make a connection, that sort of thing. So that would be linked with the infrastructure policies and also the policies in terms of movement as well.
Yeah, but just so you're clear though, in terms of the plan, and my report will be based on what the IDP is presented as now. Yeah.
Yeah, as we said, and you acknowledge, the map is quite light right now, so.
It
But-
is, yeah, I do think it is. But if whether that's a soundness issue is a different matter, I suppose. I mean, but what I'm saying to you is there isn't going to be the ability to develop that IDP into some where you can do what you like with it after the examination. But in terms of what the report will say about the IDP, that's where the difference will lie. What my report will say about the IDP. Because that has identified, and we've just been through the schemes that the council are envisaging coming forward for this plan period.
Is the council putting in additional wording in the site allocations for the planning obligations that would be required for certain schemes, or some general wording that talks about improvements to bus facilities? There was a wording in 15.10, 22 in our
So the modifications we've discussed today include adding planning obligations wording into the updated policy M1.
Yeah.
And also we've discussed that policy M1 is insufficient in terms of public transport. Buses are very important to public transport, so there will be something about buses in that public transport redraft.
Okay, then that is satisfactory, because then at the planning application stage, we have a way to negotiate some of those schemes.
And I recognise you're always at a point in time when you do the examination of a plan, there are always more schemes coming forward in terms of things that you would like to reference that aren't committed to, funded, whatever. We will keep the IDP as a live document. We will keep engaging with TfL on that, and hopefully there's a nice big shiny list of schemes for the next plan, ultimately.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else that you'd like to raise this morning?
No,
No,
nothing further,
okay.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. So that concludes the discussion in terms of matter 9 then. So I think we'll have a short break and then come back to matter 10, which is the monitoring and delivery of the plan. So is 15 minutes okay? Yeah, so we'll adjourn until 11:30. Thank you. Okay, it's 11:30, so the hearing's resumed. So we will now move on to the final matter, which is matter 10, monitoring and delivery of the plan. And this will look at whether the plans identifies a suitable framework for the monitoring and implementation of the policies contained within the plan. And at 16.1, I asked a question regarding the key monitoring indicators as to how you've defined those. Could you just, so you say that those relate to the spatial strategy, the London plan, as well as its capacity as part of the development plan.
Ma'am, so Mr. Gleaves, James Gleaves, I think,
Yeah.
is he there? Right at the end there, he's going to pick this up, I think.
Okay.
Yes, correct, yeah.
So it was, yeah, so how have you defined these key performance indicators?
So those have been defined to kind of reflect key aspects of the spatial strategy and kind of key areas of growth. They were developed from the indicators that we used in the kind of current adopted plan, and there was an assessment process that was undertaken to kind of make sure that they were sort of still relevant. So, you know, in essence, they cover sort of key areas of growth in terms of housing delivery, town centres and employment, and energy efficiency. So sort of key policy areas, basically. And then, so obviously we've got those as the headline indicators, and then we've got the additional indicators which look at specific aspects of the policy and the extent to which we're delivering those.
And so these aren't just taken straight from the existing adopted plan?
So I think the themes are basically those that are reflected in the current adopted plan, but there has been an assessment process to make sure that they're still fit for purpose.
Right, so it's KP 13 that I think is I'm questioning. Because you don't have any policy that's looking at your town centre vacancy rate, and I didn't, from the overall strategic policies, take that would the vacancy rates would be a key performance indicator based on what you've previously set out within the plan.
Okay.
So what's that correlating with in terms of what's already within the plan?
So we do monitor vacancy rates
Yeah.
within the town centres on an annual basis through a annual town centre survey, process. And I think what we're looking at there is the sort of, comes back to this thing that we were discussing earlier, really, the vitality and viability of town centres. and just making sure that we've got a kind of an appropriate mix of uses within the centre to protect that vitality and viability point.
But this isn't looking at mix of units, it's purely on vacancy levels.
Yeah, and that is a kind of a key aspect of vitality and viability, which we are trying to promote through strategic policies within the plan.
I don't think having one of your 7 key indicators focusing on town centre vacancy rates, I appreciate it has to be a measurable indicator, but it's not.
Are you saying it's a bit too detailed for it drills down too far for as a sort of KPI?
Well, not necessarily that. It just doesn't relate to what the policies are saying. You don't talk about anything to do with vacancy rates. You talk about mix of uses. And that's what it seems to me to sort of be something from maybe what we would have used to monitor plans sort of 10 to 15 years ago. That's why I was asking if it was straight copied out of the adopted plan.
That's a fair point. I mean, I suppose it's the most relevant indicator in terms of vitality and viability. If you've got large areas of vacancy within the town centre, then that's the most significant indicator in terms of, you know, how town centres are doing and whether they're meeting that national policy requirement. But we take your point.
Yeah, can you revisit that one and relook at what you've put for town centres on page 25 in terms of the strategic objectives for the town?
To just be clear, to just making sure it's more directly linked to the policy. Yeah, that's fair enough.
So, and then energy efficiency proportionate of major applications meeting energy targets on site versus offsetting, and then a separate one, proportion of major applications incorporating on-site energy generation to achieve net zero carbon. So two energy related.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're very enthusiastic about energy efficiency and zero carbon, but we can certainly look to, you know, combine those into one KPI.
Okay, so that's the question at 16.1. There's a specific one regarding KP. Is it I7 or 17?
Is I.
I7, which you've responded on.
Yeah.
And then we then go on to the additional indicators. So there was a question raised about some of these don't have targets, some of them do. Some of the targets are not particularly precise, but also, for example, an HOI1, why is the target 25% of new dwellings to be family housing or updated target following update to evidence base. What does that mean?
I think really it's kind of just making sure these are a bit future-proofed. So, you know, we've referred to this a couple of times. You know, if we have additional evidence comes forward during the life of the plan where that changes, you know, it's just reflecting that is likely to happen, and that okay, it's 25% at the moment, but you know, if that changes over the period of the plan, there's scope to reflect that as a monitoring indicator.
Okay, and the ones that don't have any target?
Yeah, we can make sure that, or you know, if we've got an indicator, then it needs to have a corresponding target. I think with some of them, the target is within the indicator, and that may be why it's not expressed as a target. But yeah, we can certainly make sure that all sections of that table are populated.
Okay, and similarly in terms of HO 18, the number of pitches needs to be specific to what's in the policy. And these are all the policies that you that you're intending to cover here, or are there other policies that you think need to be included?
That's everything we're intending
That's
to cover.
everything,
Yeah.
okay. In light of what we've discussed this morning, I would have thought that you would have a different objective in terms of transport and movement. In terms of particularly in relation to cycles.
Do you mean as a KPI? Or
No, and on page 402, so there's,
402?
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of reference to cycling in our policy, isn't there?
So surely you need a
Yeah, so
monitoring indicator.
we'll take a look at that and make sure it's fully reflective of the policy.
But you must,
I think it's
surely you need a
80%
monitoring
target.
for M3, the servicing and delivery policy.
Sorry?
The servicing and delivery policy, why wouldn't you be monitoring that one?
M3.
Delivery, servicing and construction.
Yeah, with that one, I think it's the measurable target. Just skimming through it, just
Remind me of the page number?
that's 285. Construction. Mr. Ball has helpfully referred to Part B of the policy, which refers to construction and logistics plan. So I suppose it's, potentially looking at the percentage. I mean, just sort of thinking off the top of my head, we could possibly look at, I don't know, Mr. Evans has a view on this, but the number of major applications say that would have a construction and logistics plan. Is that something that would be viable?
Yeah, on major apps, we generally
Yeah.
look for construction logistics plans.
Yeah. So you'd be happy with
Yeah, I'd be happy with
something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so monitoring on your chapter 2, high quality growth, your only indicator is GR1. That can't be right. Can you just go back through all of the policies and check which ones you've included and the reasons why, understand the reasons why you haven't included and monitor indicator? For example, planning obligations, GR11, that's got to be the most straightforward one to set a target for. And don't you agree?
Yeah, we can certainly take a look at that one.
Yeah. I don't think the list you've got at the moment is comprehensive. So revisit those in terms of indicators and targets, please. Okay, anything else on monitoring and delivery that you'd like to raise? No.
Nothing from me, Mum.
Okay, thank you. So,
Thank you.
It's now a good time to go through the action points. Yeah. Well, I did promise you an update on the open space stuff. Do you want to do that first?
Let's do that.
Okay. So you'll have to forgive me because these are just notes that I've made yesterday. So the PPG 17 report, does that have appendices? It refers to appendices throughout it. Not that I'm wishing to read anything longer than that, but so it talks about candidate sites being listed. Well, there's lots of references to it. So it sounds like that's Appendix 16, audit forms for the different types of open spaces. It sounds like there was quite chunky appendix to this report. Goes up to, it says up to Appendix 13 and then it jumps to 16, so whether 14 and 15 were missing. But there's no appendices listed on the contents page either.
The answer so far is that we have them. There are appendices. They're obviously not uploaded here. I don't know, Mr. Hughes, have you got anything you can add?
No, ma'am, nothing to add. We just need to track the original appendices from the network and provide them.
So you do have them. You've read them, have you?
I would need to double confirm that they do exist.
That they exist?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Well,
Well, they
Do-
obviously do exist.
are you looking at a copy of the appendices now?
No, ma'am.
No, okay, so you don't know if there are, well, there clearly were at the time
Yeah.
this was done,
Yeah.
but you don't know if you have a copy of it. Is that correct?
You'll have to track them down.
Yeah, okay. Well, so this is where I'm at in terms of this policy. The difficulty I have, and you've summarised this correctly in your note, is it's in relation to part A, because you are seeking to define areas of deficiency, and you're relying upon this very old evidence, as far as I can see, to do that in terms of the areas of deficiency. And all the points that I made previously in terms of it being compliant with BBG 17 and not the London plan that is existing still stand. But it's having read that report, it recommends standards and provisions and then applies those standards to what's happening in Harrow. And it seems to me to be quite led in terms of a qualitative quantity assessment, as well as an accessibility assessment, which is heavily based on some survey work that was done in 2009. And that has informed all of the components of the report. So that would just reinforce what I said previously about it not being an appropriate evidence base to justify the approach you're taking within the policy at the moment. And also a big issue in terms of the population figures that is based on are quite substantially different to where we're at now in terms of the population figures for this plan. There's quite some disparities there. And added to that, the sports provision assessment, you recognise that is out of date and you've updated that, and same with the cemeteries proposed cemeteries work, that's also being updated. So on that basis, there's two options. Well, the other thing I looked at was the Harrow, so the Ealing plan that you've referred me to, I mean, that's being examined at the moment, so I don't think you can draw any firm conclusions in terms of what's going on in Ealing. But having revisited the Barnet policy, reading what the inspectors had said about that, they were the approach there was about using surpluses and deficiencies in the older evidence to justify low quality, low value areas. And tackling deficiencies, not identifying areas of deficiency, and there is quite a distinction because they weren't using the evidence base in the same manner. So in my mind, that's quite a different position that they were taking in terms of, being pragmatic in terms of the evidence base, but that wasn't defining areas of deficiency as you were seeking to do. So I'm picking up that the council don't want to, or are pretty resistant to in terms of updating that evidence
At this stage.
Yeah. So what I would then suggest is that I revisit the wording of part of the open space policy, mainly part AA, to come up with something that's more positively prepared and effective, but it wouldn't be referring to specific areas of deficiency because you simply don't have the evidence to justify that approach.
That's the offending part of the policy, yes. So I think that's a good approach.
Yeah, okay. All right, so I will revisit that then in terms of part A, and we've already discussed quite a significant number of other changes to that policy. So by all means dig out the appendices if you want, but I don't think it's going to change.
I don't think it's going to change this, no.
Okay. But, and I'm happy for you to look at the position in relation to Barnet, but the inspector's report and the adopted plan are both available, so it was quite a different situation in relation to that. So that's where I'm at on that. And then I think just the other matters that before you start going through your actions list, the other things that are sort of points that I'm going to be coming back to you on are reviewing the housing trajectory once that's updated, and the extent of that may warrant an additional half-a-day hearing, which we may have online. I think we've already discussed that. And the other items I'm coming back to you on are the hospital site, the biodiversity percentage, the policy specifics where we've said I'm going to have a think about that, and the local character areas. Those are the major ones that I said I was looking at. But I'm happy for you to go through the policies now.
Oh yes, there's the West London minutes as well. Did you get it?
I did, yes, and I'm content with all those. Yes, I read
You're
those
content with
yesterday.
that, fine. So that's covered.
Yeah, and I'll make sure Louise contacts the representative on that.
Yeah. On that.
It was Mr. Howell. Remember his surname?
Howell.
James.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead? Yeah, go ahead. I mean, a lot of them have been actioned, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, Mum, are you happy for me to go through them one by one?
These are
Yeah,
actions for the
points.
council, or is this
Actions generally.
actions generally? Yeah.
Points, yeah. So going back to day 1, 24th of June, we've got morning session, update the IIA, and putting a note on the website to say this document has been updated.
Yeah.
We believe we've done completed that. We can send you a full list of these.
Send a list. Yeah.
Second point on day 1 morning session was provide the West London Alliance minutes. No,
Yes.
we've done that, and you've thankfully confirmed you're content with those. Day 2, 25th of June, a morning session, one action arising from there. Matter 3, Section 106 costs. We need to provide information on the schemes, what the schemes include, on the heads of terms on the date that we envision the Section 106 is being signed. And that's 4.3 of the MIQs. I think we consider we've now completed that.
Yeah.
The afternoon session on day 2 include the biodiversity net gain impact assessment from 2019 in the examination library. We've done that, sent that to Louise, and that's been done. Day 3, 26th of June, morning session, add the 2011 open space document as part of the evidence base.
Yeah.
We did that. Send an email to the inspector regarding council's approach to the 2011 open space study point.
You've done that.
We did that. The afternoon session, add annual monitoring report for the last 5 years to be added to the evidence base. We've done that.
Yeah.
Provide the figure for how many family homes have been provided within the last 5 years. Completed, that's done. Day 4, 7th of July, afternoon session, we have a few action points from that. Council to keep a schedule of all actions required. Done that. Council needs to revisit information at Appendix A in terms of individual allocations.
This is the trajectory.
That's the
the
trajectory,
And then following on from Mr. Ball's contribution with regard to the 17% table, which has a 17% lapse rate and which don't.
Yes. Yeah. So you're going to do 2 different schedules.
Yeah, those haven't been completed yet. You're
No.
asking us to hold back at that point and make the submissions all at once.
All at once, yeah.
Re-MIQ response to 8.5, correct the footnote link. The correct footnote link needs to be provided. And then the last one on that day was figures between pre-2019 and what's been completed, current apps and site allocations thus far, compared to the London plan of area capacity. How do the figures relate to each other? Council to respond to query raised by local resident. Day 5, at the moment, we haven't got any points for the council to action. A point that you were going to action, ma'am, was to reflect on Part C, brackets location, and D, brackets over concentration of policy H09.
Got a note of that, yeah.
Day 6, morning session, to produce a summary of the approach stroke methodology taken in 016. That's the allocation 16. Policy M2, reproduce with track changes in its entirety what the council is proposing in terms of policy M2.
Yeah.
Type out the whole policy as existing, then strike through what has been removed. OA3, Thames Water, make a note to update other sites referring to Thames Water and amend or delete. OA4, amend when we've got clarification on the development time frame for that allocation. Attach OA8, attach relevant appeals into the EIP library, listing allocation.
Sorry, are these mods that you're talking through, are these action points?
Well,
that
these
the
are
council-
down as on our list of actions to do,
Actions.
but as I'm reading them out for you,
Yeah.
ma'am, some of these have
Yeah.
mod
Some of these
implications.
are definitely mods, and the
Some of
later
these are
ones.
definitely mods.
The later ones are mods as well.
And there's some later ones. To reflect on the tall building study, comments from the public and respond on that one. Then there's opportunity there in the afternoon session. There are comments on OA11, OA8, OA9, all of which, in my opinion, probably fall into the mods.
Yeah,
And they're all sites with reference to NHS in requirements and allocation to update for clarity. That's a mod. GB2, to consider if the development framework is consistent with the golden rules. I believe we've discussed
Yeah,
that.
we've done that,
That's
yeah.
been done, yeah.
sorry, can I just check on day 4 on the footnote link, did you correct that, have you done that yet? Or
Day 4.
I think it's to the, it's a GLA footnote document.
Yeah.
Have you haven't done that action yet? Is that just going on the table and then you'll send it all through together? Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And are you going to provide the document or are you going to recorrect the report with the link working?
What would you prefer us to do,
I
Mel?
think it's probably easier to just attach the document, isn't it? Rather than, yeah. Okay, so we'll come on to main mods then. So any other sort of actions for the council?
I think there's a consideration about 07, isn't there? Liaising with the landowner and Places for London about the residential housing, whether or not you can come to common ground on that.
Yeah, again, I think that's more of a mod for 07, potentially. I have an action point on the 10th of July, ma'am, because to be open, ma'am, the recording of that day hasn't been uploaded yet. It was a very long day, and the length of the recording is still being worked on. So that's an action for us, is to make sure we've captured everything on that day. But what I spotted, ma'am, is that there is an action point for you on GB1, which you've already mentioned, I believe,
Yeah.
in terms of coming back to us on your position on GB1. And then there are a number of issues noted which are relating to allocations in the plan. And what I think is a mod on HO9 to look at and consider amending Part D to take account of our approach on co-living schemes, which would be a mod. In the afternoon session, there were notes here on GR2 and GR3A, looking at the supporting text for these policies regarding repetition.
Yeah.
A check for duplication, and give the rationale for the drafting of GR7, 8 and 9 regarding shop fronts.
Yeah, you were just going to look at
Look at
consolidating
those.
those if you can.
If we
and
can,
if
yeah.
you don't feel you can, you should just say, we actually don't
Yeah, yeah.
we're able to.
And then 11th of July, last Friday, council action points, add travel plan to the transport policy, look at the development principles and town centre hierarchy and LE1 to reflect on the title of the paragraph, look at the viability assessment and run homes at 35%. And you were to confirm your requirements for that piece of work. council to look at Islington Council's plan for defining as an appendix the marketing evidence required.
Sorry, on the family homes, are you still waiting for something from me then, or do
No.
you understand what you're
No,
doing?
no,
I think-
we're just going to run it.
I think we're going to run it
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
you, Mum.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We just have to speak to,
Yeah,
Anthony.
yeah, BNP Paribas, yeah. And then today, Mum, 2 points on action from me that I've noted. Come back to you on the status of existing school streets.
I think that was clarified when we then
you
started
okay
going through the
with that?
document, actually, yeah, because
Happy
Mr Hughes
we've done
then
that?
said those are existing.
Okay. And then M2 parking, revised wording on parking to be added to the examination library.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, okay,
That's the action list now so far.
thank you. So if you just settle all those out on a table, so you can say matter, it's good actually if you separate, so matter, you don't need the day, but matter whatever, document or action requested, date provided, a separate column. And then,
Yeah.
And then it's...
I was going to put something like a RAG rating against them where we're, well, for our benefit,
Okay.
which is what we've done, what is underway and what
Yeah.
hasn't started yet.
And then if you could send that through as a draft to Louise, and
Yeah,
then
we'll do.
I'll just cross-check it again, but it sounds like everything is covered.
The mods list.
Yes.
So at the moment, Mum, after today's...
Sorry, where were we starting from?
Yeah, well, just for context,
Yeah.
after this morning's session so far, I'm up at 187 mods. Some of which are simple edits, some of which are more substantial changes in terms of, if you remember, the SPO6 and things like that on
but we did,
social infrastructure need rewriting and relooking at.
Okay.
So might it be helpful to send you through our long list of the mods and add in the ones which should have been from the action list on the mods list? Or do you want to run through them?
I'd rather run through them and then you start work on an actual proper schedule. But in terms of the schedule, don't start, that has to be in Word, so some councils try and do it on an Excel spreadsheet. I'll get Louise to send you a formatted document that goes into our report, and in this case you'll need to do that in landscape because it's just going to be ridiculously long otherwise.
Yeah.
And you must ensure that you put the full text of the policy. So it can't just be an extract. It has to, so the reader can read the whole modification and understand what's being changed.
That's a track change version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also in terms of the numbering, so say for argument's sake, only because I've got it open, page 228 G12, if there is a modification proposed to this policy, the whole mod, and different inspectors do this differently, that's why I'm saying how I would like it done if possible, and any changes up into 7.2.8 are one modification. So that would be called MM1.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
yeah.
it's not every change gets a different number.
Okay.
we did do some of these mods before, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the 9th of July. Was that the last?
Yeah.
Is that where we start from?
I'm not
So
sure how far
The
we
8th,
got on.
It was the 8th of July. I mean, we did them up until the 8th, I think.
You tell me which was the last policy you think we did too.
I think we did. I think we did the 8th of July HO. I think we did the morning session up to 8:06. That's what I think we did.
Okay, and which page of the plan is that?
That is,
Oh, 806, sorry.
yeah.
HO6 now, yeah. That's number 79 on our list.
Yeah, so that's page 126. So 12.
Would you like me to email this to you? No, so you can look at our table together or read them out to you.
Well, I think this needs a lot of tidying up.
It does need a lot of
I
tidying
don't
up,
think it's
yeah.
going to be helpful to the inspector.
Yeah, don't, and also Louise is sitting, so she won't be able to.
Yeah.
I thought we got to the end of the housing chapter.
Well, that could be right.
HO9 we definitely covered.
Correct. Yes.
We get to the end of
So that would be,
the start of day 6.
I thought it was day 6, actually.
9th of July.
Yeah, I think so. SPO5 is where I think we stopped updating ourselves.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So the opportunity area, then the site allocations, and yeah.
That's right. So that's page 177, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's from 94.
I got that, yeah.
Yeah.
Shall I carry on from there?
Yes,
then?
so SPO5,
Part C,
Part C, yeah,
revisit the wording to reflect the interface between the HWOA and the suburban context
Yeah.
directly adjacent to it, which is substantially lower, less densely developed.
yeah,
Then SPO5 Part A, small b,
yeah,
amend policy to not restate the London plan and instead describe what Harrow is doing. Look at the point about defining jobs. State 1,268 jobs as set out in site allocations in terms of floor space.
well, I think it's just the wording, supporting employment floor space to meet the evidence needs of the borough. You just need to say what those are.
Yeah, what the floor
Yeah.
space is.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay. Thank you. SPO5 Part A, small a,
yes,
will update the wording to reflect the work done on the delivery of a minimum of 5,000 well-designed homes. Update to 8,750
Yeah.
new homes. SPO5 Part B, need to be consistent with the use of sub-areas. That is also using the words distinct and character areas throughout the plan. SPO5, amend according to paragraph 90F of the framework.
Yeah.
Address this in all the sub-areas referenced parts D, G and H. SPO5 Part B, not required as already covered by F,
yeah,
and amalgamate Part B and F and delete Part E.
yes,
SPO5, policy mapping is not clear. Council to appropriately map out Station Road. It should be identified as a separate area on the map and map each of the 3 areas. I think that's where there was a kind of potential ambiguity. We've defined the Metropolitan Town Centre,
Yeah.
we've defined Wealdstone District Centre, but we haven't explicitly defined the part of the opportunity area which links between the two of them, which is Station Road. So I think that's what that mod is aiming to achieve.
yeah. We looked at this, didn't we, before the tall buildings policy, so I'm wondering whether the mapping then in relation to the tall buildings covers that Station Road area.
Yeah,
So
It certainly
perhaps
would.
a cross-reference
Yeah.
to that then.
yeah.
But on all these D, G and H, you need to say as defined on the policies map. So Harrow Town Centre as defined on the policies map.
Yeah. So I'm just adding that in. Thank you, Ma'am. SPO5 parts G and H, check, amend wording. Then we're into OA1, car parking provision deleted and insert car parking in line with London standards. Do for all application allocations.
Sorry, what page is OA1 on? Is it? at 295, so yeah. Yeah, so the parking
Do
points.
for all application allocations in
Yeah.
regard to in line with London standards. Minimum housing figure should be stipulated for allocations at 11.21
Yeah,
and allocations going forward rather than indicative.
yes.
Opportunity area site 2, update development time frame. Opportunity area site 3, delete site source line, not necessary for the policy to be effective. Similarly, delete on all opportunity area sites.
Sorry, just on OA2, you were going to amend the development timeframe. Did you say that?
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Then opportunity area site 3,
Yeah.
delete the words site source
Yes, I think you're going to do that on all of them, aren't
on
you?
all of them,
Yeah.
yeah. Opportunity area site 4, amend when the council gets clarification on the development time frame for different parts of the site, and remove the last sentence under development principles.
Yeah.
Opportunity area site 6, delete the words supporting land uses consistently across other opportunity area sites.
Yeah.
OA1, OA6 and OA12 seeking nuance re car park.
Yeah.
Come up with wording, need to be specific, delete town centres uses with active frontages.
On the basis of the wording that you've provided today in relation to M2, that would be that would be wording that cross-references as referred to at policy M2B. Yeah, so you don't need to be reinventing wording. And that will apply to all of those sites that you're taking that approach with.
Yeah, thank you. Opportunity area site 7,
Yeah.
update the capacity number to 509.
Yeah.
OA7, statement of common ground with TfL to reflect the position of this site and car parking. 2 amendments, development considerations and delete reference to appropriate car parking provision and reword with reference to London plan standards. We kind of said that earlier.
Yes, yeah.
Going into the afternoon session, ma'am, opportunity areas site 11.
We've got OA9, I think, as well.
Yeah, I've got, it looks like I'm coming back in a minute to OA8, 9 and 10.
Okay. So
OA11.
OA11, yeah.
Again, car parking in line with London standards. At site objective, amend to remove ground floor.
Yes.
At page 312, development principles, delete the words demonstrate appropriate level of car parking. Update current use to vacant.
That's on OA11.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the park, let's not revisit the parking because I think we're all clear as to what we're doing on the parking, so
Yeah,
we
we
don't
are,
need to
yeah.
say it on each site. So on OA11, yes, it's the current use should just be vacant.
Yeah. So OA, there's a long list here now. OA5, OA9, OA11 and OA15
Yeah.
and O1 and O3
These are
and all those outside the opportunity area except 20, 21 and 22 we are envisaging a management strategy as shown at M2.
Yeah.
Baseline for all of the sites is compliant with an
Yeah.
OA8, going back then to OA8.
Yeah. So this is the one where you said it's currently a car showroom MOT centre, I think?
Yes. So relevant planning application section to be updated
Yeah.
on the current use of the site. Opportunity area site 9. Update this to reflect the correct development timeframes.
Yes.
There's a reference to page 20 of our mods and amend reference to the flood zone. OA10, terminology of the flood zone, remove the words former probation office
Yeah.
under current use and leave vacant. Development time frame moved to 6 to 10 years.
Yes.
Opportunity area 12.
So, sorry, I don't know, are you going back to OA9?
No, not at the moment, Mum. Have I missed something on that one?
There's just, I think, the current use surface level car park associated with former civic centre is going to be deleted.
Could you just read that out again, Mum? Current use surface level car park.
And then delete associated with the former civic centre, so it will just say surface level car park.
Okay. Thank you, Mum. OA12.
Yeah.
Amend to the local management strategy wording at allocated use.
Yeah, we know that, yeah.
Amend the development time frame
Yeah.
and the housing figure and indicative residential capacity should be 200.
Yeah.
Should be 228.
Mm-hmm.
Opportunity area site 13.
Yep.
Modification of CPO.
Mm-hmm.
Opportunity area site 14.
Yep.
Reference to historic England in heritage section. Opportunity area site 15. Development time frame changed to 6 to 10 years.
Yep.
Opportunity area site 16. Amend reference to C2 and C3 in the
Yep.
allocated use, and similarly for supporting land uses.
Mm-hmm.
Just have reference to school.
Yep.
Opportunity area 17.
So, sorry, not just on OA16, I think the indicative capacity was going to be updated as well.
Thank you.
2520 I have down.
Thank you, Mel. OA17.
Yeah.
Amend the policy map to remove from SIL and downgrade to LSIS.
Yeah.
Cross-reference policies maps regarding LSIS in the allocation.
Mm-hmm.
GB2 additional pitches instead of minimum of 15.
Right, GB2.
That's the,
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's an overarching modification noted there, ma'am. Allocated uses need to be consistent across each opportunity area.
But there was the point about the NHS provision, the wording, which I think you've already picked up. You're just
Yeah.
going to cross-check that one, yeah.
Yeah, this is where we haven't received the recordings yet for the 10th of July, but we have a long list of modifications so far. Site GB1, which is the RNOH hospital, mods for surface water flooding on page 23 of the mods. a further development principle referring to archaeological desk space assessment. An indicative amount of residential capacity changed to a minimum of 500 units, for this site, rather than 500 as it currently says. But we'll be awaiting your further comments on that. Then going into the outside the opportunity area.
Yeah.
First is O1. Mods in relation to parking. We've done that, yeah. And we'll take that again as referring to all the sites.
Yes,
Amended for NHS floor space. 136 homes is the capacity suggested for that. Another one on O1, clarify the relationship with tall buildings, building heights SPD. O2.
Sorry, just on what the basis of what we've agreed in terms of the open space policy, any allocations where you say in addressing the identified open space deficiency, you're going to have to delete those. So it will just say the site may offer the opportunity to make provision for publicly accessible open space.
Thank you, Ron. O2 amend reference to NHS floor space for consistency. O3 consistent in wording. It should be consistent with parking again.
I think O2 is 17 units as well, rather than
17 units.
15. I've got written down.
Thank you.
And then O3.
O3 a parking standard issue. Mod. Nothing else on O3.
41 units, I think, not 37. I've got noted down yet.
Thank you, ma'am. Hang on. OA9 has just cropped up, ma'am. Open space contradiction for omitting Poets' Corner of open space within O1.
I think that's.
Does anyone want to
for the
comment on
council
that?
to revisit.
You okay for me to move on now?
Yeah, I'm on O4.
O4, amend the flood risk wording
Yeah,
and preparing a modification in line with OA9.
yeah, and I think the capacity on that's 292.
I got that one down here,
Yeah,
I think.
And the development time frame needs updating.
Yeah. O5, modification to flood risk.
Yeah,
O6, modification to flood risk and surface water.
well, we did have quite a conversation about the allocated use on this in terms of the representation received.
Is there a mod running out from that now?
Pardon?
Is there a mod required as a result of that
I think so, yeah.
Which one are we on?
O6.
No, O5.
Oh, O5,
Yeah,
sorry, ma'am.
sorry. It was on page 231 of your.
What's the mod you've got noted down now?
I've just got a cross-reference. See rep page 231 of your. It's just wording in association with the school facilities or something to that effect.
This was to do with the question of whether the school could have, in principle, permission for anything that supports the school, and we were looking at the wording around that to make it a bit tighter.
Yeah.
So 06, I don't think we just. Yeah, that's the school allocation.
O6 was more flood risk and surface
Yeah.
water. 07, a mod for parking. 08, a mod in relation to flood zones. 09
Sorry, on 07, I'm going to have a think about the boundary issue.
on
And
08 or 07.
07.
Yeah, this is to do with the retail element
Yeah.
that TfL own.
Yeah.
Thank you. 09, unless you've got something on the way, Mark. We've just got flood zones on our way.
09.
Precision with regard to the words environmental improvements required. That's
Yeah.
quite vague.
Yeah.
Amendment in relation to access to replace flood zone 3A reference and need to reference designated open space and development principles.
Yes. And the re-provision of that open space, yeah.
Yeah. 010, development time frame is 1 to 5, not 6 to 10. And to look at the streetscape greenery to
Yeah.
make the wording more effective.
Yeah.
011, car parking amendment, flood surface water to be amended and minimum capacity to be 36.
Mm-hmm.
012, London parking standards
Yeah.
again, and development principles, bring a modification back in to check.
Yeah, but this is, we know where we are on the sites because we've got them all listed, so.
Yeah. 013, don't need in development principles, take out if appropriate, the words if appropriate on 013.
If appropriate.
We don't need the words in if appropriate in development principles, I think.
Oh, replacement facilities, okay, yeah.
014, development time frame to be 6 to 10.
So, sorry, just so on 013,
Yeah, we don't need the words.
yeah, if
If
appropriate, if
appropriate.
that's the only thing that's changing on that one, that's an additional mod, not a main mod.
Okay.
Yeah. So 014,
014, development time frame 6 to 10 years.
yeah,
Modification to insert travel plan. Reference the relevant policy that protects hostels, HO7, and justification of the site objectives. 015, update the residential capacity to 10 units.
yeah,
016, flood risk, and add in restaurant or bar under leading land use alongside public house.
yeah,
And the current use can say hotel stroke public house stroke restaurant and bar, and remove paragraph 3. This is the Travellers Rest site, isn't it?
Yeah.
019,
sorry, I think on 016,
Yeah.
did you already say that on development principles you're deleting the third paragraph?
is that paragraph 3? Yeah.
Yeah,
Remove
sorry,
paragraph
yeah.
3. Yeah, what I didn't say is from development principles.
Okay, 17,
I'll just write that in. 019 is the next one.
019,
Change to a minimum capacity of 57 units.
019.
Yeah.
No, this is the one where I asked you to, oh, have you already had a conversation with them?
Which
This
site-
is
which
the,
site is that, Mark?
Gas holder site.
Oh, yeah. Is there a lot missing from this one? Because this is where the recording hasn't come through yet. If we need to check the recording for...
Well, I think what I said was that I'm trying to recall now if it was in relation to that. No, it was the we also then discussed the specifics of the retail policies as well with that. No, so this one was that I wasn't convinced it was a residential site, and I
Yeah.
asked you to speak to the representative.
this, you've got this as an action.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you've got this as an action.
So I wouldn't write down any proposed changes.
No mods at the moment?
No.
No, okay.
And then if you can't agree, I'll just, leave it, give you the first chance to try and resolve something, but
Yeah,
otherwise I'll
okay. Okay,
let you know what's happening there.
thank you.
And then O20,
I haven't got anything under 020 at the moment, no.
no, there was just this debate about whether the site area should be extended or not, which I'll come back to. And then 21 is Anma Lodge.
Alma Lodge,
Is there anything
yeah.
on that one?
Is there anything,
It's,
any mods relation to Alma Lodge?
I think
No.
it's, is it not 138 dwellings?
Oh, 100, yes, you're right, yeah, 138, yeah.
Yep.
And then O22,
Oh God, hang on. Sorry, Mum.
sorry,
I think I just closed my document. Oh, sugar.
wishful thinking, I think.
Oh dear. How did I do that?
You're regretting doing this bit now, aren't you?
Yeah. Hang on. No. Bear with me, Mum. Does anyone have the document open?
I've got it.
Apologies, Mum.
You got it. I mean, I've got it here if you want.
I think I might have it. Yes, where did I finish? What number was I on, Mum?
139, I think you've got to.
Yeah.
You're on to
Okay.
O22, which is the Stanmore Station car park.
Right, there's no, I've got no notes on 022 now.
I think there was some debate about whether it should be a PTAL of 4, that site. That's all that I have down for that one.
Yeah, okay. And then I'm on to GR1, Mum.
GR1. Do you have a page number?
No, I don't have a page number, but it's very early on, isn't it?
GR1 is, thank you.
Thanks, Guy.
GR1, yeah.
Design led, part B, small I, repeats the London plan. And we think this is B, small h, not required.
Yeah, so delete H and I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
GR1, bold uppercase C, lowercase a and b can
Yeah.
be amalgamated.
Yeah.
GR1, uppercase B, small h, repeats E and can be deleted.
Yeah.
GR1, uppercase D, deleters not necessary.
It's to delete D, E and F.
GR1E,
Sorry, D and E.
yeah,
Yeah.
GR1E, not effective.
Yeah.
For this to be removed, particularly should address further guidance published by the Council on such matters. GR1, G and H to reword for effectiveness. No need to cross-reference to other policies. GR1, 2.1.8, the words character areas, not defining the words character areas in that paragraph, could use inverted locality instead. Does that make, are you covered? Have you got a similar note to that effect? paragraph 2.1.8.
I think you were going to revisit that text as to whether it was more appropriate in relation to tall buildings, but if it's staying here, it's incorrect that it's will be considered against the tall buildings.
Okay, we'll go and have a look at that.
Yeah.
GR3,
GR3, yeah.
GR3B, uppercase B, need to be more specific when consideration to be given, i.e. not for householders.
I haven't got that written down. I wonder if that's... Yeah, sorry, I think that's GR2. Major proposed... No, that's in relation to major proposals. GR3B, large B.
Yeah, GR3B and then large B.
There isn't a subs... Yeah.
Are you with me on that? No. It's on page 48.
I think it's large B and little b, isn't it?
Policy 3RB.
Yeah, GR3B.
GR3B.
And then it's large.
Oh, GR... Sorry, I was on
Yeah.
part B. Right,
Yeah,
GR3B,
GR3B and then large
Yes.
B.
B, yeah.
Flexibility needed, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, know where you are, yeah.
And then GR4.
Yep, so when you're
being-
going to reword this as tall buildings?
Yeah. Rewording the policy as tall buildings. And also we were going to weave, that's an interesting phrase, to weave the asterisks text in the policy map into the supporting text of the policy.
Yeah, that's the little footnote that you've got on
Yeah.
page 57. So I think on this one, this was one where there's quite extensive,
There was changes, yeah.
so you're going to split up part A to define how you're defining a tall building zone.
Yeah.
We went through it in quite a bit of detail about how you were going to assess tall buildings within the tall building zone, and then how it would then be, how part D is now, how that would be explicit to proposals outside of the tall building zone.
I've got delete part D
Yeah,
from this policy. And then part B, amendment for protection of views and exemplary design.
yeah,
I've got, again in GR4, consider whether necessary to include the second sentence in part A of the policy that's stated within the opportunity area. And check if local heritage is defined in the site allocation templates.
and then there is
And then-
the additional wording at EA, which we discussed with the local residents who were here, which would say at the end of that sentence where the boundary sits outside of the opportunity area.
Yes, I got
Yeah.
that. I got that in my own notes, Mum, yeah.
Yeah,
GR4F
yeah,
needs to be reworded to be
Reword.
consistent
yeah,
with the text in 3.9.3
yeah.
of the London Plan. Then moving on to GR5, view
GR5.
management,
Yeah,
modification of Part G,
yeah,
and the words in inverted commas maximised. Part E, amend to add the words a protected view.
yeah.
And then I'm going over to policy HE1 now.
Yeah, so GR6 I'm coming back to you on, and then, yes, HR
HE1.
HE1, do you have a
Do
number?
you have a page reference for that, guys? Page 87.
87. Yes, yeah.
Okay, HE1
But
part.
this is quite straightforward. You were just going to amend it in terms of what the actual act says.
Correct.
Yeah.
Preserving or enhancing
Yeah.
character or appearance. Then I'm jumping to SPO4.
And sorry, the reference to
Oh, sorry, yes. Yeah, I've got other notes here. Reword A to be in accordance with the Act.
yeah,
Part J,
yeah,
give reference to the policies map for
Yes.
non-designated
Yeah.
heritage assets. Yeah.
okay. And then sorry, you're on to
SPO1.
SPO1.
The start of last Friday. What page is that, guys?
SPO 4 or
SPO, I've got SPO4, sorry, yeah, apologies.
Do you have a page number?
That's 171 now.
171. Yeah.
Right, the notes for the mod on this SPO4 states needs for the borough to be set out in the policy in part uppercase B and C.
Yep.
Part uppercase C and small a from yesterday's points. If this is a strategic policy and it's setting the quantum floor space in terms of needs for the borough,
Yep.
this should be set out in policy part uppercase B small c and part uppercase C small a,
Yes.
and any other subsequent changes this triggers in the supporting text.
Yep.
Remove the use class references in policies part uppercase C small c and small d.
Yes.
Avoid referring to use class orders in the policy and any other subsequent changes this triggers in the supporting text.
Yep.
And then I'm moving on to LE1.
Yep.
Okay.
This was quite a significant change on this one.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll run through everything that I've got written
Yeah.
down on LE1, and then we'll wait. LE1 development principles and town centre hierarchy to reflect on the title of the policy itself.
Yeah.
In 5.1.1, need to specify Appendix 4 in the policy wording, not just in the supporting text. And we need a new section which says the borough allocates as shown on the policy map.
I think those are one and the same, those points. So you would just say that, to give effect to the policies, the borough's network of town centres as defined on Appendix 4.
Correct. Yeah, we were inserting a new A into this
Yeah.
policy, and then everything else changes below it. Part uppercase A and uppercase B specify that at the start the council will support within town and district centres.
Yeah.
At parts A and B, part A within town centres and or parade to be deleted. Part uppercase A small b to be re-looked at as old wording. Part B, council will support mixed-use development within town centres and neighbouring parades. Uppercase A, small b, scale and intensity, those words need to be more positively prepared to support development and ensure consistency with the framework.
Yeah.
Part uppercase E, brackets and other policies, needs to be clear in the policy which part of the policy applies to the different town centres.
Yeah, so I think you talked about having a heading there within town centres and neighbourhood parades,
Yeah.
because you would want to still encourage
Yeah.
markets within neighbourhood parades.
Yeah. Part uppercase A through to part E needs introductory lines, i.e. in relation to neighbourhood parades.
Yeah.
Or neighbourhood parade XYZ, the council will support.
Yeah. I'm going to delete part C.
Yeah, no, I've just got a comment on part F first,
sorry.
ma'am, sorry.
Part F, yeah.
Part F, the use of the word parade needs to be amended. Clarity needed regarding whether this part should apply to neighbourhood centres.
Yeah.
Part C, the note I've got there at the moment, is that it needs to be reworded to give effect to the policies in the London Plan to specify frontages only and not ground floor generally.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Also to draft and insert a fresh policy paragraph to give effect to primary and secondary frontages.
Yeah.
Part uppercase C to be positively reworded.
Yeah.
And a fresh policy paragraph to give effect to primary and secondary frontages, again in line with the London Plan. Part E, that's uppercase E, needs to be amended for introductory text within town centres and neighbourhood parades again. Part uppercase E small b to be positively prepared, satisfactory impact on residential amenity. Part uppercase A small c to specify that it doesn't apply town centre as a whole, but designated over proliferation needs to be relooked at as it's ineffective.
Yeah.
Needs to be clear what the decision maker is looking at in terms of monitoring.
Yeah.
Supporting paragraph 5.1.1
Yeah.
needs to refer to the policies map after Appendix 4. The supporting text, paragraph 5.
I'm sorry, 5.1.1 isn't necessary if you're doing it within the policy. I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I think they've just made a note of the same point, but about 3 different times.
yeah. Supporting text 5.1.8. In response to part uppercase A small c amendments. You okay with that now?
Yeah.
Again, back into policy LE1 uppercase G.
Yeah.
It needs to be positively prepared.
Yeah.
Will be resisted and also must reconsider the use of the word green. Reconsider use of the word green from green travel plan. And
Well, I think you're changing the must to should.
Yes.
And I think you're just deleting
Taking the word
C.
green out from travel plan.
Well, you already need a travel plan because of the other transport and movement policies.
In
So
the policy, yeah.
I
It's
think
in
we
the transport
agreed
policy.
it wasn't necessary to have it as a separate sub thing here.
Okay, take the whole green travel plan out.
Yeah,
then.
so just remove part G, C, and then you were going to revisit H to
Whether it needs to be in a separate policy,
have a
I've
separate
got
policy.
policy H to be relooked at, decide
Yeah.
whether it should be in a separate policy or should be a separate policy. Amend H1
Yeah.
typo meant to be subsection E.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Amend the words all opportunities to relate the accommodation, to delete the accommodation from its existing use have been fully explored.
Yeah.
And now moving into LE2 now.
And 2.
That was everything on LE1.
Okay. That's night time and evening economy. Yeah.
LE2 part uppercase D,
Yeah.
delete.
Yeah.
There's a typo with 2 E's.
Yes.
And then I'm moving into LE3, ma'am.
I think the first E was going to be deleted because
Yes.
it was just repeating. Yeah.
The first E to be deleted. Yeah.
And then LE3, yeah.
LE3, the numerical numbering, revisit that for consistency with the rest of
Yeah.
plan drafting. A1 to B1. A1 co-location of residential will not be supported. This needs to be more positively prepared, reworded.
Yes.
And then I'm jumping to LE5 now.
LE5, yeah.
Paragraph 5.5.6
Yes.
needs updating to reference the London policy terminology,
Yes.
and consideration of including in the glossary a definition in relation to marketing requirements. See the Islington example.
Yeah. There was specific wording that I think it's on this one that the representative had put forward as regarding part, I think it's in part C about replacement facility being provided.
Which one? Which part now?
I think it's in part C. It was to do with the hotel use. Yeah, Mr. Hughes remembers it. Yeah.
Have you got a note of that, Dave?
So that they put forward some suggested wording, which I think everybody was content with.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I'm into today's sessions.
Okay.
So-
I don't think we probably need to do today's because they're all fresh in our memory as to what we discussed, unless you
Okay.
have anything. But if there is anything that you're not clear on, please do feel free to message through Louise.
Okay.
But I think all the 2 or 3 that we did this morning are quite straightforward.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for that then.
Yeah.
Sorry,
thank you.
ma'am. Just one question. On GI2, you said you would need to think about some alternative wording based on your view on the evidence.
GI2, what's it?
The
Is this
open
the open
space.
space?
Open space.
Yeah,
The deficiency point.
yeah.
Can we take that away and come back to you with some suggested wording as a modification? Can we do it that way, please?
Well, I think I've already suggested what I'm suggesting is the modification. What's the page number?
Well, it's it's 228.
2.
I think what you said was look at some alternative wording.
Yeah, so development proposals must, or that should
So it's that.
contribute to the provision, protection, enhancement of high quality, multifunctional, publicly accessible open space.
So it's that uppercase A, lowercase a, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
It's the point about deficiencies.
Yeah. And
So,
so
all
you want that bit you want that bit reworded. So we'll come to you with some with a modification.
there's no rewording. I'm just saying, particularly in areas of deficiency is deleted.
We've
Right.
covered that bit. I think
Yeah.
we've covered that.
Okay.
The-
I'm not suggesting rewording it,
The
because you
inspector's
can't
already-
justify the areas of deficiency.
Yeah.
Right.
That bit's, we've dealt with that early on.
Good.
Okay?
That's right, we've covered
That's,
that bit.
that's
Yeah,
what my view
right
is,
at
yeah.
the start. That was the first action we looked at. Points in first while we were awake, James.
Okay, so I think that covers everything then, doesn't it, in terms of today. So what so I'll send over the the main modifications table. I'll come back to you as soon as I can in terms of the outstanding points, or whether necessary just pick those up in terms of the main mods table. Is that's more straightforward. And you need to include, I've just opened the document, it doesn't actually include the reason column in this. So do you want me to pop that in, or are you content to put that in yourselves? Reason for modification, and you reason it. I'll just put on the email that to make sure, yeah, that you need to add it as an additional document. And then in terms of timetable, I mean, this will be moving forward over the next few months, I imagine. So how long do you think you need to get sort of the list of, well, getting the list of documents together is pretty straightforward because we've already gone through them. But do you have any idea how long it might take you to, not the main mods, but prepare the sort of the documents that are, so it's mainly the trajectory, isn't it? Yeah.
But the trajectory we should finish this week. In terms of the numbers, they're there. They just need translating and updating for the changes that we made this week. Days, not weeks.
Well, I'd rather you say a date that the council's content with in terms of. Yeah. And then you, well, yeah. As I said, I'd prefer everything to come in as once. So I think you need to, have you spoken to Mr. Lee about the viability work? Yeah. 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 I mean, and then in the meantime, if you can start preparing the mods table, yeah, things will just progress in that sense.
And do you have a sense of when you might come back to us on your, the points you're considering?
I imagine that would be 2 to 3 weeks. If, yeah.
That ties in then.
Yeah. Well, yeah, probably given in holidays as well, maybe more towards the end of August, actually, realistically. Yeah. And then we will, I will look to get my report prepared on that basis, and obviously the consultation, and then any work you need to do in terms of the essay as well, in terms of that reconsultation. When you do prepare the main modifications, could you send separately the atlas of change, or you can say this has not changed from this document and just give me the document reference number, and also the additional mods, again, just so I can cross-check that there's nothing that should be in there. Okay, is that clear? Is everybody content with that? Okay, thank you. So all that remains is me to thank Ms Angel for her input today. Thank you very much. And Louise, obviously, I will pass on your thanks to her for the efficient running of the previous hearings, and thanks to the venue as well for facilitating the hearings here. So if we do need another hearing, I imagine, again, because of Louise's availability, it would be online. So the council, I'm assuming there aren't any issues with, no. Okay. Okay, so thank you very much for your contributions, and the hearings are now closed. Thank you.